What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song I recently called Dreamin', the Deep Source remix, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's talk about liquidity pools, and before I even go any further on this, just wanted to say that this video is not financial advice. Anything that I talk about here is literally just me musing out loud. I'm not even engaging in this. I'm just kind of throwing some ideas out there and doing a little bit of like a public brainstorm with you guys for anybody that is interested in this area of the game. And that area is liquidity pools, because we recently had a major change where pretty much all of the liquidity pool rewards that were being paid out in SPS have ended, right? That ended at the end of July 2025. And so you can still go and provide liquidity and you can earn some rewards through that, but it's not nearly as much as it used to be when we were just paying out and essentially causing high dilution and inflation for SPS through those, right? So the only pools that we have now, there's 5 in the game, 4 of them belong to land, and then we also have the voucher pool. And it got me thinking, where would I want to potentially park capital? Now, the thing is, none of these have SPS. So if I wanted to have like SPS exposure, none of them are going to offer that, right? Because it's either land resources and DEC or it's vouchers and DEC. So if you're looking for some place where you can park SPS, you're just going to have to go into one of those other liquidity pools and, you know, take whatever the rewards are. In looking at the land ones though, and I'm gonna keep the voucher one out for now because I'm not as focused on that. But looking at the land one, there is one that is exciting to me, and I wanted to run it by you guys to see how you guys were feeling about it overall. And that is the grain and DEC pool. Now, the grain and DEC pool is not paying out the highest APR. In fact, if you run the APRs across the other ones, I think wood is at like 50%. You got stone and iron in the 20+% range, right? Grain, from the last time I calculated it, was at about 13%. Modest, but, you know, still respectable in today's day and age where people are looking for yield. Now, the reason I like the grain LP, right, the grain DEC LP, is because of the fact that I believe, and again, this is just my own opinion, I believe it's at this point going to be the most stable. So there's several reasons for that. First of all, grain has been out for a very long time, and we already know kind of like how the market prices it. Obviously, as more things and more features for land come out, the market will rebalance and reach a new equilibrium, but I don't think it's going to be as fundamentally different or as crazy of a dynamic change as we saw when land 1.75 came out. And the reason for that is because grain was the only resource then. Then we added a bunch of other resources, and so people had to go away from grain naturally. As we add more other natural resources, buildings, production, whatever it is that will come on to land plots that you know, are in the future, that will only increase the amount of grain that needs to be consumed. And I'm not going to go through it here, but if you go into the website that shows, I think I talked about it on a recent video, right? But it shows that grain is the only one that's at a deficit right now. And it's only like 10 million per day, right? Which is nothing when we're talking about like literally hundreds of billions of grain tokens out there. But everything else, wood, stone, and iron, are all inflationary, meaning that we are consuming less than we are producing every day. So those prices have not found their equilibrium yet. If anything, I would expect them to go down, unless, of course, you know, the team is very proactive about getting more and more cool things out. Now, granted, we do have like the Tesoshi fortune draw, we got the auction marks and things like that. All this stuff is happening now and over the next couple of months, and I'm sure the team is going to find other ways in which they can get land. They can get land resources utilized. But at this point in time, it's just like, okay, that's high risk, high reward. If I'm just looking for something stable to park capital in, DEC stays relatively, you know, stable in terms of like either being at below peg or going up to peg. And right now it's actually not a bad time, because if you want to park in DEC and still have exposure to upside, you can do that. And grain, I would say, of all of the other resources, is probably the most stable, or at least has, I don't want to say upside, because again, this is not financial advice, but it's just like, right now it's at a deficit, meaning that obviously people have way more than they need. So we're burning, you know, more per day, or consuming more per day than we're producing. And over time, as more stuff gets added to land, yes, people might turn on more grain, but I would say at this point, they're only going to turn on more grain if it makes sense, if all of a sudden the price of grain rises too high. So that's why I'm looking at it as like, okay, this could be one of the more stable areas in which I could have a stable resource with a somewhat of a stable coin, right? Product-backed stable coin, and earn a decent yield on it. Now, again, that yield is going to be paid out in grain and DEC, right? So it's not going to be paid out in any other kind of reward token, and I'll have to manage and track if I want to take that out. But it is one of the most, at least for me, and again, this is just for me, it's not financial advice. For me, it is one of the more interesting ones. Obviously, if I want to play fast and loose and throw a little bit more capital in and see if I can ride the wave when land, really starts to take off. Again, if I lower time preference and I'm just trying to toss stuff in there for the long term, I mean, maybe wood would be cool, right? Like it has the lowest amount of liquidity in it. It has the highest APR as it currently stands. It's utilized at the same rate as the other LPs, right? Stone and iron. And I mean, for me, I actually am in a region that has a lot of wood, right? So grain and wood are the two highest resources that I get. But as I think through like the future, okay, if that's where I'm going to park capital, I can either go crazy or I can go to something more stable. And like I said, what's interesting to me is the more stable one with grain and DEC, because again, those are always things that I will need, whether, grain for land or DEC for other things within the game. And 13% is kind of awesome, right? Without having to worry about an inflationary resource in grain or a product-backed stablecoin, which will go down too much further. I mean, again, it can. None of this, who knows where the future lies, right? But I'm just saying it has the most stability, in my opinion. So again, you can see I literally have $7 in this pool right now, so it's not like I'm throwing a bunch of capital in. I'm just putting it out there more so as a thought experiment and a thought exercise, and wanted to see what you guys thought of it. So let me know your opinions in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.